During Putin's visit of the Magnitogorsk iron and steel works, workers were given clear instructions on what they could and could not ask him about. According to a report by Kremlin journalist Andrei Kolesnikov, the discussion of possible questions took place under the supervision of the Kremlin's censor-controller. The agency writes about this when one of the workers suggested asking Putin about the central bank's key rate, which is killing the Russian economy. He was immediately told it was inappropriate. The worker, in his words, sighed dejectedly. The question did not pass moderation. Instead of current topics, there were questions about childhood, sambo, and impressions of the city. These were considered correct for the format of the visit. Only the worker who suggested asking how the president had fun as a child received approval. Here, a wonderful question, the curator said. Preparations for the meeting with the president resembled a theatrical rehearsal. Workers were lined up and asked to greet Vladimir Vladimirovich in chorus, cheerfully. Those who went off script were gently but firmly pointed out their mistake. When a journalist asked whether the workers were going to ask Putin about possible secondary US sanctions, one of them responded with disarming directness. That's true, and I agree that this is the most interesting thing. But do we have the right to raise the pressure on the president? Putin's visit to Magnitogorsk was yet another reminder of how Russia is run today, manually and without surprises. No tough questions, no discussions of real problems. Everything is according to an agreed-upon scenario. Recall the high key rate of the Central Bank of Russia sharply increased the cost of borrowed money. As a result, enterprises are forced to curtail business development, and citizens are deprived of the opportunity to buy apartments and cars on credit. This is the price that citizens and businesses pay for the war that fueled inflation. The rejected question of the worker indicates the reluctance to draw additional attention to this topic. The president arrived in Magnitogorsk on Wednesday. He visited MMK and the local park, Prityazheny, took part in the opening of a new section of the M12 highway and also met with Chelyabinsk Governor Alexei Texler. During the passage of Putin's motorcade, trams were stopped in the city.
U.S. President Donald Trump has told Ukrainian leader Volodymyr Zelensky that Kiev needed to go on the offensive in the war with Russia, Washington Post reported on Friday, citing unnamed Ukrainian officials. Trump told Zelensky during a phone call on July 4 that Ukraine could not change the course of the war by playing only defense. In the same phone conversation, Trump asked Zelensky whether Ukraine could strike Moscow, to which Zelensky replied, "If we have the right weapons, we can." The details of this phone call were first publicized by the Financial Times publication. The phone call was later described by Ukraine's Chief of Staff, Andrei Yermak, as the best call with Trump. Yermak said the spirit was uplifted after the call, but it is too early to celebrate. July 4th call marked a turning point, leading to Trump's decision to funnel more weapons to Ukraine. Trump also set a 50-day deadline for Russia to reach a peace deal before imposing 100% tariffs on Russian imports. According to Washington Post, this shift culminated months of work by European leaders, Republicans, and other supporters of Ukraine who gave Zelensky advice on how to handle interactions with Trump. A lot of Ukraine's allies have been in contact with Zelensky about this, but also among each other. They're talking about how you talk to Trump, the publication quoted an unnamed European official as saying. Members of the Druze community in the Israeli-controlled Golan Heights were seen gathered at the border with Syria and crossing into the buffer zone on Thursday morning. According to Associated Press, it comes as Syrian government officials and leaders in the Druze religious minority announced a renewed ceasefire Wednesday after days of clashes that have threatened to unravel the country's post-war political transition and drawn military intervention by powerful neighbor Israel. The announcement came after Israel launched rare airstrikes in the heart of Damascus, an escalation in a campaign that it said was intended to defend the Druze and push Islamic militants away from its border. The Druze form a substantial community in Israel as well as in Syria and are seen in Israel as a loyal minority, often serving in the military. The escalation in Syria began with tit-for-tat kidnappings and attacks between local Sunni Bedouin tribes and Druze armed factions in the southern province of Sweda. Government forces that intervened to restore order clashed with the Druze militias, but also in some cases attacked civilians. The violence appeared to be the most serious threat yet to efforts by Syria's new rulers to consolidate control of the country after a rebel offensive led by Islamist insurgent groups ousted longtime despotic leader Bashar Assad in December, ending a nearly 14-year civil war. Interim President Ahmad al-Shara, in footage on state television early Thursday, called the Druze an integral part of Syria and denounced Israel's actions as sowing division. The Druze religious sect began as a 10th-century offshoot of Ismailism, a branch of Shiite Islam. More than half of the roughly 1 million Druze worldwide live in Syria. Most of the other Druze live in Lebanon and Israel, including in the Golan Heights, which Israel captured from Syria in the 1967 Mideast War and annexed in 1981. Druze in the Golan Heights have been gathering along the border fence to protest the violence against Druze in Syria.
אתה רוצה, תקשיב, שלחתי לך עלי צלם יהיה מחובר כבר, 2 דקות, בוא ניקח אותו, ניקח עם צלם. סבבה? אתה שומע?